Premier Mark Brantley has expressed concern about what he terms misinformation from a Guardian newspaper article and the implications this could have on St. Kitts and Nevis. The article suggested that a sanctioned Russian national Andrei Pavlov used a St. Kitts and Nevis passport to travel to 70 countries within the EU. However, there is no evidence Mr. Pavlov has a St. Kitts and Nevis passport, though he reportedly sought one through the country's Citizenship by Investment program. 2 European MPs have written to the European Commission President calling for visa-free travel to Europe for St. Kitts and Nevis passport holders to be revised. But Mr. Brantley, speaking at his monthly press conference recently, was very critical of the article, noting that he was interviewed by the reporter who wrote it.
And it turns out that a law firm contacted me in 2014. That law firm did not indicate who their client was. They simply said they had a client interested in citizenship by investment. I think, as all would know, I have not practiced law since 2013, when the Concerned Citizens Movement won the government and I became Deputy Premier. And so when that colleague, good friend of mine, got in touch with me saying that he had a client who was interested, I referred the colleague to the law firm of Daniel Brantley, where he would normally have done business. He would have contacted me in my capacity as someone associated with the law firm of Daniel Brantley, and I simply referred him through. I want to make it pellucid that at no point have I met, conversed with, had any association or contact with Mr. Pavlov or anyone else in that regard.
Mr. Brantley also slammed the EU for failing to detect Mr. Pavlov's travels despite the sanctions against him.
But what is interesting is that only 3 of the 28 countries of the EU have put any ban on Mr. Pavlov. I want you to reflect on that. Only 3 of 28 members of the EU have put any ban. So obviously they have not banned him. He's free to travel within the EU. So if he has gone to Germany or to United Kingdom or to Italy or France, he's free to do so. There's no ban on him. So one has to ask the question, what was the objective of these MEPs? And for the Guardian, a respected newspaper, on the basis of that information to write an article seeking to somehow involve the good name of St. Kitts and Nevis, it makes no sense.
But the opposition Nevis Reformation Party NRP have been very critical of Mr. Brantley. The Guardian article suggested that Mr. Pavlov contacted Mr. Brantley's law firm, Daniel Brantley and Associates, to assist him to apply for St. Kitts and Nevis passports for himself and family. The article said that the contact took place in 2014. At that time, Mr. Brantley was Deputy Premier. First Vice President of the NRP, Dr. Kelvin Daly, speaking on Freedom Radio's Issues program, slammed Mr. Brantley.
During the conversation, apparently that the associate had with Mr. Brantley concerning the acquisition of passports, or SKN passports, the Deputy Premier referred the intermediary to his law firm, Daniel Brantley Associates. This is what the Guardian is reporting. So he is soliciting business directly to his law firm. He could have said, go talk to some other law firm, go talk to Patrice Nisbet or Jeffrey Nisbet. He could have said, go talk to anybody who does the CBI. But he referred the intermediary directly to his law firm, Daniel Brantley Associates.
Dr. Daly suggested that based on the information in the article, Mr. Brantley exercised poor judgment.
All he had to do was Google the name. I did it, and 2 seconds I had information. This man was on blacklist prior to 2014. He was not on a blacklist in 2014 alone. Prior to 2014, he was on the list. And here is our Deputy Premier soliciting business from him. And now he's on Facebook defending, trying to get ahead of the story and say he never met the gentleman. The deal never came to fruition.
Premier Brantley stated that there was no evidence that Mr. Pavlov attained a St. Kitts and Nevis passport through the Citizenship by Investment program, and that he was never a client of his law firm. Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris was also critical of the European MPs for expressing concern about St. Kitts and Nevis' visa-free status based on inaccurate information. Mr. Brantley, who is also the Minister of Foreign Affairs, said he will be responding to the letter from the European MPs pertaining to visa-free travel. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. The new Bastia High School dominated the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party press conference on Wednesday. Candidate for the party in constituency number 1, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, insists that the school should not be built on the proposed site at the Bastia Valley Aquifer.
The building of the school on the aquifer brings to light many serious issues. For example, any hard surface development will have human activity on it that will generate solid and liquid waste. This waste will include organic and biological pollutants that will make their way into the underground water. The school will also require to have car parking for school staff and visitors. The parking area will be subject to pollutants such as engine oil, fuel, transmission and brake fluids. These pollutants will mix with rainwater and introduce hydrocarbons into the aquifer.
Labour Party Chairman Dr. Terence Drew questioned the credibility of the panel of experts at the new BHS Town Hall Forum last week, held at the Tucker Clark Primary School. He argued that some of these experts have a vested interest in the construction of the school.
And we have to ask the hard questions. Now, if you are involved in construction of anything and you are, in line to really benefit in the millions, one has to admit that there has to at least be some sort of conflict of interest. For example, let's look at Santa. And this is the company that we know, Santa Caribbean Consulting Limited, that they carried out the EIA. But we also know that this company is being hired, or proposed to be hired, to build attenuation ponds, other drainage engineering facilities that will be associated with the construction of the Bastia High School. So isn't there a conflict of interest?
The Labour Party reiterated their view that if elected, they will build a new Bastia High School on the old site.
But we are not stubborn in our ways here in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. We understand that people have concerns, and so we have gone further and said, although no scientist, no expert anywhere has advised us to demolish what is there, they have not even advised that we should remove the soil that is there. We will say, in the interest of the concerns that people have, we will go forward and accept that we would build a brand new Bastia High School on the old site. In addition to that, apart from there was no expert providing evidence of contamination.
A government-appointed panel of experts at a town hall meeting last week have assured the public that the well fields below the proposed site for the new Bastia High School would not be contaminated with the new school being there. They have assured that mitigation efforts would be put in place to prevent any form of contamination. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris has denied that his government has been paying gangs to keep the peace over the last few months. Since Valentine's Day this year, where some 3 persons were killed in violent shooting incidents over a 24-hour period, the Federation had recorded very few homicides or violent incidents. Reports suggest that a truce was formed among the gang members and that somehow they were being paid to remain dormant. But Prime Minister Harris, who is also the National Security Minister, denied this claim when asked about it by WinFM journalist Ken Richards.
There's been a suggestion, however, that the government has been having, or the authorities anyway, have been having dialogue with the gangs. There's speculation that they are receiving some kind of assistance. There's further speculation that they are being paid.
Now, in terms of payment, that again is a mischief. A mischief. There has been no payment by this government. No payment by this government to any criminal party. What this government is committed to do, and we have said that, we will help those who have come out of prison, who are looking for a fresh start. We will help them to get a fresh start.
Prime Minister Harris did admit, however, that the police high command has been engaging persons in the communities in the fight against crime.
We have well accepted that there is a need for engagement with all persons. The approach of this government has always been that the crime problem which we inherited in St. Kitts and Nevis after 20 years of one administration could not be solved unless we had a buy-in by the entire community. Mr. Petty brought to the fore one of the first conferences at Marriott that brought all the stakeholders together, good men, bad men, service group, commercial entities, and the focus at that convention, what it is you can do to help, not what somebody else can do, to help with the situation. And we took note of all the recommendations that had come from interested parties about how we move forward. And yes, engagement with the criminal elements was considered to be important.
The Prime Minister also claimed that his government continues to provide opportunities for the nation's youth.
We have to have conversations with the people. We have to ask them what was happening and put all the pertinent facts together to come to understand the working of the mind. In that context, yes, there are responsible persons in the community who have begun that outreach with certain elements who are at risk in the community with a view to finding solutions going forward. And the government is supportive of every effort by any individual or any entity to preserve the peace and prosperity of St. Kitts and Nevis.
There are 11 homicides recorded in St. Kitts and Nevis since the start of 2019. I am Namayumbam Ganella for SKN Newsline.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like knowing you're covered when your house gets flooded, getting your settlements quickly and fairly when a fire hits your home, and making sure your business can keep going even after an accident happens on site. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
How does it feel when you got that feeling? You got the flavor you love. How does it feel when you know you're not dreaming? There is nothing above. So good when you're feeling nice. So good it tastes just right. So good the place to be. So good it's KFC.
How you feel when things come together? How you feel when everything nice? How you feel when you're up on your ends with your friends? Everybody holding a vibe now. How you feel when things come together? How you feel when everything nice? How you feel when you savor the flavor, the feeling you get when you taste every bite?
So good when you get that meal. So good is the way you feel. So good any time of day. So good is what you say. So good when you dance all night. So good it tastes just right. So good the place to be. So good it's KFC.
In today's world, so many ordinary businesses pass themselves off as something special. But what's really special is what you're looking for. Don't settle for anything less. Inspiring women to be their own kind of beautiful. Offering a comfortable place to shop for quality products and excellent service. We have everything you need. Looking for fashion? We have top quality jewelry. For makeup? We have them. Black Opal, Revlon, perfume, and much more. Lucky Cosmetics Hair and Beauty Supply Store. We carry an extensive collection of hair and beauty products to look your best. We are located at the Circus Taxi Stand, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Call us at 869-466 7541.
Meridian Medical Pharmacy is the best place to get your pharmaceutical products. We make filling prescriptions easy. Our well-stocked pharmacies are ready to serve you. Check us for medical supplies, skin products, supplements, and so much more. Ask about flu vaccines. At Meridian Medical Pharmacy, we are focused on offering a professional, personalized pharmacy experience. Our service is personal, compassionate, and friendly. Located at our state-of-the-art medical facilities at the corner of South Independence Square Street and Adlam Street, downtown Bastyr, St. Kitts. And now we have a new branch on Frigate Bay Road in the Sugars Complex. Call 465-5096 and 465-3306 or email pharmacy@meridianmedcons.com. Visit Meridian Medical Pharmacy today and experience professional, customer care and fast prescription fill-in service. Meridian Medical Pharmacy. Social activist and former government minister Dwyer Astapan believes the government must present definitive scientific evidence that the old Bastyr High School site on Victoria Road is unfit for the construction of the new school.
I have made a case that the government has not proven definitively that the old site is unusable and is unfit for purpose. And it is for the government to prove to the country conclusively and definitively that the old site is unfit and unsuited for purpose. The government has not proved that. And there must be a reason that the government hasn't done so. Perhaps the reason is that they can't. And that the rationale for going to the new site is more political than scientific. Now, I'm not saying there aren't problems at the old site. It is those very problems that caused the school to close. But are those problems fixable? If they are, then this is 2019, modern technology, modern science, right there for you. Fix them, rebuild a modern school, and not a glass and steel monstrosity, but something that fits into our architectural heritage.
Mr. Astapan said building the new school on the proposed site at Ponds Pasture presents more risk than building on the old site.
And I would suggest that it is going to be less expensive in terms of funding the mitigating elements that have to be introduced in the other site, the proposed site, which seems to be a site of higher risk than the original site. So the risk element always carries a cost factor with it. And what was going to be a $40 million project, they're now saying $80 million, and that does not include a number of mitigating elements.
The construction of the new Bastyr High School on the proposed Ponds Pasture site has triggered the ire and opposition of some persons who argue that the location sits atop water well fields at the Bastyr Valley Aquifer, which, if contaminated, will affect the country's potable water supply. Minister of Education Sean Richards has said it was decided against building the new school on the old site, as there has not been any definitive reason given by expert reports as to what was the cause of the illnesses reported by some teachers and students at the school. He said it was best to err on the side of caution and build the school on a totally new site.
Numerous tests have been done, and after all of the testing, you still can't get a definitive answer as to what is causing the issues at Bastyr High School. And therefore the government said, we will build a brand new Bastyr High School.
Well, based on some of those reports, or at least particularly one of those reports, which the opposition has hinted to, is that they're saying that the issues that were wrong with the campus could have been fixed.
Well, they didn't fix those issues then. I told you they went in once, said issues resolved. Move back in the students, move back in the teachers. And what happened? They moved out again under the very same government which said the issues can be fixed. A government which claims that it left $900 million in the treasury. So that if the government was serious, if it is claiming that the issue is fixable, or it was their intention to build a brand new Basti High School, they could have pursued any one of those two particular initiatives.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. James Beattie, a visitor from the U.S. who died while hiking Mount Lyamiga on June 4th, died due to lung and heart problems, according to a post-mortem report. Resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunez Quintana performed a post-mortem examination on Mr. Beattie's body on June 7th. After completing the examination, Dr. Quintana determined that Beattie's cause of death was due to decompensated chronic cor pulmonale multifocal bilateral bronchopneumonia and chronic obstruction pulmonary disease. In layman's term, Mr. Beattie had long-standing problem with chronic heart disease, which impacted his lungs during the hike. Beattie was found lying motionless along a hiking trail on June 4th. According to police, Mr. Beattie and Emily Goodyear of England went on a hike at about 4 p.m. Beattie fell ill and Goodyear left to get help and lost her way. The search team found Goodyear, who then guided them in the direction of Beattie. He was found lying motionless along the hiking trail. The district medical examiner arrived on the scene, examined the body, and pronounced him dead. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. The SKNFA Super 6 playoffs is poised to be very lucrative for the participating teams. The St. Kitts Nevis Football Association, the SKNFA, disclosed in a letter to member clubs this week that historic prize money has been approved for the tournament. Over 100,000 EC dollars in prize money and awards were approved, with the top 6 teams receiving the following. The winner, $50,000 EC dollars with trophies and medals. Second place, $20,000 with medals. Third place, $8,000 with medals. Fourth place, $6,000. Fifth place, $4,000. And sixth place, $3,000. The teams finishing in the 7th to 10th position in the 2018-2019 National Bank Premier League will receive $1,000 each. A new feature for the Super 6 playoffs will be a Man of the Match award of $200 for each match of the Super 6. General Secretary of the SKNFA, Stanley Jacobs, hinted to this exciting new development in a previous interview.
Tell you that the Super 6 will be a much more lucrative tournament. From the club's perspective, it's going to be more lucrative. For the players, I think that there will be a lot of incentive for the players. And so I think it's going to be very exciting. But I think when all is said and done, that I think everybody is going to be happy.
The increased prize money is part of the SKNFA's vision to provide more resources and support for football at the club level, Mr. Jacobs said in the letter. Over the past 2 years, the SKNFA has introduced a sports injury insurance scheme for players and a club financial assistance program. Through the club assistance program, Premier League clubs and Division 1 clubs are eligible to receive $5,000 and $2,500 respectively to assist in covering costs associated with the daily operation of the clubs. In total, these initiatives provide in excess of 300,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars to SKNFA member clubs annually. July 27th has been set as the tentative start date for the SKNFA Super 6 playoffs, and Mr. Jacobs noted that it is highly anticipated among fans and players alike.
Super 6 coming off for the very first time in 2019. There is a lot of anticipation. It's a brand new competition. Persons are still looking to see what to expect. But from the SKNFA, we can promise you that it's going to be one of the biggest local sporting events. And so we're going to do our best to make sure that we put on a good event.
The start of the Super 6 playoffs was postponed due to an ongoing court matter with the Saul Island Auto Supplies Connery FC. With this new start date, it is the hope that the matter would be dealt with prior to that time, thus allowing the final point standings for the playoffs to be decided. The Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Timothy Harris, has called for cooperation among Caribbean countries with citizenship by investment programs to work together in advancing the industry globally. He was addressing the opening of the 4th Annual Caribbean Investment Summit on Thursday at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort.
As we celebrate our successes and reflect upon the lessons we have learned over the last 35 years, the single most important task for our jurisdictions is to protect, consolidate, and build upon those successes. We must meet the challenges and opportunities of the next 30 years with vision and foresight of the architects of our regional industry. Even greater ingenuity, imagination, and innovation, and above all, the leadership and resolve to execute the blueprint for this industry over the coming years.
The Prime Minister pointed to the introduction of biometric data for applicants that have strengthened the security and verification features of the programs, the emergence of smart tech tools such as RCBI Direct, which is being launched at this year's summit, and the increasing use of online technologies to provide authoritative information about the region's programs and investment opportunities to people around the world.
Our multi-agency approach to diligence, which no doubt has become industry standard across the region, has resulted in our regional programs being highly regarded as safe and robust. A third lesson which has emerged from the experience of the last 35 years is that we cannot do it alone. That point bears repeating. And in that regard, the CEPA, the new regional agency, has been mandated to work with all programs and all institutions to ensure collaboration and harmonization of standards across our respective programs.
The Prime Minister said there is need to have dialogue with organizations such as the EU and the OECD as it relates to CBI programs, and to make a distinction between citizenship and taxation. This in a bid to protect the industry from unfair tax blacklisting by developed countries.
The risk to our program by policy options of the OECD, the matter of the EU blacklisting, and thankfully today none of our CBI participating countries are on the blacklist, constraints and corresponding banking, and how these affect the efficiency and the efficacy of our programs. And of course, always we must bear in mind the reputational risks of these programs to our country, and most importantly, to the dignity and pride of our people.
Representatives from 5 Caribbean CBI jurisdictions, namely Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Kitts and Nevis, were present at the summit. Service providers to the CBI programs of these countries were also present. The 2-day Caribbean Investment Summit will continue on Friday. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Want to promote your business or event to a vast, growing audience? Then advertise with SKN Newsline and get a comprehensive package for our advertising services. When you advertise with us, we promote your business or event on multiple platforms, both online and offline, including our sister radio station, Voice of the Caribbean Radio, our Facebook pages, and affiliate networks and offline marketing. That's effective, creative, and unprecedented. Simply put, we offer what our competitors don't at a really affordable price. So visit our office on Central Market Street, Basse-Terre, and speak to one of our knowledgeable and friendly sales representatives, or call 765-7254, 668-9013, or 665-7496. Get your message out on SKN Newsline and our affiliate network of marketing tools. Marketing done creatively.
For all your printing needs at top-notch quality, go to Digital Print Plus, located on Princess Street, Basse-Terre, St. Kitts. At Digital Print Plus, you get the best in business cards, letterheads, envelopes, wristbands, tent cards, rack cards, flyers, brochures, logo designs, posters, photos, architectural designs, 3D renderings, and so much more. Digital Print Plus gives you the best quality at competitive prices. Contact us at 767-7468 or email digitalprintskn@gmail.com, or follow us on Facebook at Digital Print SKN. Digital Print Plus, for all your printing needs at the best quality.
Why read the news when you can watch it? Introducing SKN Newsline, the Federation's only online TV news platform. SKN Newsline is an online TV news platform covering news in St. Kitts and Nevis. We provide a daily and accurate news on the big stories and stories of interest that other media outlets have ignored. You can watch SKN Newsline on our website, www.sknnewsline.com, or Facebook page at www.fb.com/SKN Newsline, and also subscribe to our SKN Newsline YouTube channel. SKN Newsline, your world, your news.
Get up mornings with Carl D. Springett on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, Monday to Fridays, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Be energized from the spoken word, daily blessings, black facts, health tips, divine connections, kingdom happenings, weather, SRN news, and more, with star-studded interviews and testimonies and practical principles to help listeners do what the mantra proclaims. Get Up Mornings with Carl D. Springett from Faith Walkins, Love Talkins, and Joy Livings. Get up and be energized with Carl D. Springett, Monday to Fridays, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Get up mornings with Carl D. Springett.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune in for Caribbean music and programs, news, sports, entertainment, vibrant discussions, and much more. Tune into programs like Get Up Mornings with Carl D. Springett, live on weekday mornings. Let's Talk St. Kitts and Nevis with Andre Huey. The Caribbean News Hour and The Quiet Storm with Magic Man. Tune in to great music to inspire you each day, only on Voice of the Caribbean Radio at www.voiceofthecaribbean.net or on our Android mobile app in the Google Play Store. Just search Voice of the Caribbean. We're also on TuneIn Radio. Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check our website for program listings.
Now you can have SKN Newsline on the go. Introducing SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Search SKN Newsline in the Google Play Store. Download the app free and stay up to date with TV news in St. Kitts and Nevis in the palm of your hands. With this app, you can watch your news reports, watch our live news feed on SKN Newsline TV, engage with us and other app users in the chat room, look at our special features, send us news tips, and call us directly. It's news on the go. The SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Download it free today.
Minister in charge of SCASPA, Ian Liburd, is dismissing suggestions that his planned meeting with SCASPA workers on Thursday was illegal. Press releases from Press Secretary of the opposition St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party suggested that Minister Liburd called for a meeting with SCASPA workers for Thursday afternoon without the knowledge of the chairman of the board of directors, Don Bonkamper, or its CEO, Denzel James, who is on leave. The releases suggest that the minister plans to force James out of the position without his knowledge and had called for a meeting with the staff for Thursday afternoon. A notice on the state-owned ZIZ radio said all of SCASPA's operations, except those at the Robert L. Bradshaw International Airport, will be closed to the public on Thursday afternoon. According to the release, sources said James is on vacation and had no knowledge of the meeting, and he was only informed by junior officers. On Thursday, Minister Liburd was asked about this by journalists on the sidelines of Caribbean Investment Summit at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort in an invited comment on these reports.
I can say with the greatest respect, borders on absurdity, right? This say, or you heard this say, and so on, right? If the head of an important institution like SCASPA is going to use your words, right? Then there are processes, or there's a process. I don't know if he has resigned. How might react to the proposition they just made? But I can say emphatically, I am unaware of that.
Minister Liburd reiterated that the meeting is nothing new, as he meets with other workers in departments that fall under his portfolio.
I am due to have a meeting. I did not have that meeting. As the minister with responsibility for SCASPA, I have a constitutional mandate to generally supervise and control every department under my purview. So one way of ensuring that the operations are being run in an efficient and effective manner is to have dialogue with staff, the entire staff. I've had meetings with my departments in the ministry. The only one that's outstanding right now is the post office, the public works and the water department, very important institutions in the country. My next meeting will be with Skellig. I've had meetings before. It's not the first time I've had a staff meeting with SCASPA. I believe that this one is long overdue. We can just have dialogue, let the entire staff know what is the thinking of government in terms of directions we are going.
All operations, excluding the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport Terminal, will cease all business or operations at 2 p.m. to accommodate staff attendance, the circular to staff said. According to the report, the meeting began at 2:30 p.m. in the Seaport parking lot at Bird Rock, and all employees were expected to be present at this meeting as special guests. Minister with responsible for SCASPA, Honorable Ian Patches Liburd, will be readily available to update staff on SCASPA's happenings and other important matters. A notice circulated to staff said. I am Namayambam Ganela for SKN Newsline. It is now official. Foul play was involved in the death of Elva York, the elderly woman found dead in her home last week in Borio. Forensic pathologist Dr. Valerie Alexandrov performed an autopsy on the body of the 85-year-old York on June 23, 2019. Dr. Alexandrov concluded that her death was as a result of asphyxia due to manual strangulation. Police said they are continuing their investigation into the matter. York was found dead in her home on June 17th. At about 6:30 p.m., a neighbor of the deceased contacted the police after attempts to contact the elderly woman failed. Upon arriving to the scene, police observed the elderly woman lying motionless on her kitchen floor. The district medical officer arrived on scene, examined the body, and pronounced her dead. SKN Newsline will continue to monitor this story and provide an update when available. Meanwhile, a warrant in the first instance exists for the arrest of Gerard Stapleton of Connery Village for the offense of battery committed on May 5, 2019. Anyone who sees him or knows of his whereabouts is asked to contact the Basseterre Police Station at 465-2241 or the nearest police station. I am Namayambam Ganela for SKN Newsline. Did Prime Minister Harris ask his counterpart in Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, to prevent one of his ministers from speaking at a Labour Party function on the weekend? That is what the opposition St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party is alleging and what the government is denying. A press release from the Labour Party's press secretary on the weekend said that Dr. Harris told Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister if one of his ministers, who was invited to speak at an opposition event in St. Kitts on Saturday, does so, it will be a declaration of war and we would not be able to guarantee his safety. Antigua and Barbuda's Minister of Education, Science and Technology, Michael S. Brown, was invited to speak on Saturday's introduction of Leon Nathanielson, the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party candidate, who will challenge Prime Minister Harris for the St. Christopher No. 7 seat in the next general elections. The Labour Party release issued a quote from Minister Michael Brown, quote, The Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis called my Prime Minister and he expressed abhorrence that I am coming to St. Kitts to speak at this function. The charge was that my presence here, me coming here to speak, is a declaration of war, end quote. But a statement on Monday from the Office of the Prime Minister denied these claims. The statement described the opposition statement as unfortunate and malicious. The statement said the minister arrived in St. Kitts and Nevis on a private political mission and was warmly welcomed by a protocol officer from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and another officer who drove him to the Marriott Resort. The minister was further assisted with his departure in a similar manner by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. At no point before or after his arrival were any threats made or was anyone's security at risk, the statement added. The Office of the Prime Minister noted that both Antigua and Barbuda enjoy excellent relations and Prime Minister Harris converses regularly with Prime Minister Brown on a range of issues of mutual interest to both countries. And this will continue. I am Namaya Bumganella for SKN Newsline. The organizing committee of the St. Kitts Music Festival has confirmed that they and the police are currently investigating the theft of 75 tickets for the concerts that are slated to take place at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium in Bird Rock. The committee explained that the general admission tickets were illegally taken during the course of last week. However, an official indicated that they are aware of exactly which tickets were stolen and have noted the serial number for each of them. The police and other security personnel have been alerted and briefed and will be on the lookout for anyone attempting to enter the stadium with the stolen tickets. Members of the public have therefore been warned that if they are found with any of these tickets, the full weight of the law will be administered and they will not be allowed entry to the concerts. In addition, the committee said it has also been made aware that a number of persons have been offering complimentary tickets for sale to unsuspecting persons in the public. Persons are therefore cautioned against aiding and abetting those individuals who are breaking the law to sell either the stolen or complimentary tickets. With only hours remaining before Wednesday's official start to the 23rd edition of the festival, committee members have been kept busy completing their assignments ahead of what is expected to be another unforgettable St. Kitts Music Festival experience. The festival officially runs from Wednesday 26th to Sunday 30th June 2019. I am Namayambam Ganala for SKN Newsline.
I'm Andre Huey and I'm here at Independence Square for SK Newsline for the 2019 edition of the Eat Local Day here in Independence Square. It's the 12th edition of Eat Local Day, and this is where local food providers, caterers, farmers, they have a chance to showcase and sell local food right here in Independence Square. It coincides with Child Month, the annual Child Month March, which started earlier on Friday morning, culminated in the square. There are a lot of toys and activities for the kids, and there at the same time you can buy food right here in Independence Square. We took the chance to speak with Mr. Sean Clark. He is the head of the marketing department of the St. Kitts Agriculture Department about Eat Local Day.
We have some 7 caterers who are actually participating in this event, supporting the theme, support local, eat local. Over the last 12 years, the Department of Agriculture continued to promote eating local commodities, homegrown commodities. And most of the products that are here that the caterers are actually creating are from local commodities. As you would be aware, Restaurant Week is actually celebrating their 6th anniversary, and they have the theme coconut as the main ingredient. And so the Department of Agriculture continue to support the Restaurant Week, and so we are actually promoting coconut at this event. So a number of the dishes will be made from the ingredient coconut.
How is the use of coconut going to assist in food security?
Well, you know, food security is all of us priority. And so we recognize that over the last few years, a number of our coconut trees were wiped out by the legal yellowing disease. And so we had to import some coconut trees and to get our local more into buying the local coconut. Most of the coconuts we have now are imported coconut. Of course, like I said, we are celebrating our 12th anniversary. So I believe that speaks volume and it gives the local and our visitors. As you know, we are celebrating music festival at this time as well. And so we are able to get our local and visitors come and enjoy some of the local dishes that they would not have had for some time.
Also at Eat Local Day, there is the Windsor University of Medicine, School of Medicine. They had the chance to provide or give back to the community, and they did so by offering free blood pressure checks, free health checks on the 10th, especially here at Independence Square. So there's a chock-a-block of activities here at the 2019 edition of Eat Local Day right here in Independence Square. Reporting for SK Newsline on Eat Local Day 2019, the 12th edition, I'm Andre Huey for SK Newsline.
The just concluded 23rd annual St. Kitts Music Festival has been deemed the best ever by Tourism Minister Lindsey Grant. Addressing the media at a press conference backstage during the third and final night of the festival on Saturday, Minister Grant estimated that the crowd that night was over 15,000 patrons. Patrons came out in their numbers on Saturday night to see legendary reggae artists.
And it has to be the best music festival ever. And I say that with no water in my mouth. It's about the numbers. The hotels are full, the airlines are coming in full, the restaurants are full, the vibes is right, and I think we have performed exceptionally well. I had a few concerns about the venue, but I think the venue worked very well, as you can see. I've been just advised that the numbers in this grounds tonight is in excess of 15,000 people. A third of the population between St. Kitts and Nevis is here at the Kim Collins Stadium. It speaks volumes to what we can produce.
Minister Grant said the results of this year's music festival shows that St. Kitts and Nevis can punch above its weight.
We produced an excellent 3 nights. The production has been magnificent. Of course, we've had some hiccups, that's behind the scenes, but what you've seen has been flawless. And I think it goes to show you that we in St. Kitts and Nevis can punch above our weight.
He suggested that the organizers will work hard to top the 2019 edition of the festival.
And so again, it's to the people. And I believe this now we have to dig very deep, because I don't know how we can top 2019. But I can tell you, we're going to dig very deep to top 2019, because it's all about being better and better and better. And so the lineups has been magnificent, the performances have been great, and I can't say there's been any negatives. So I want to thank all the people who have come out and actually supported the 23rd St. Kitts Music Festival, because without the people, we would not be here today.
Patrons came out in their numbers on Saturday night to see legendary reggae artist Buju Banton, who was the last and most anticipated act of the night. The minister praised the organizers for contacting Buju very early to be part of the festival.
We've engaged him over a year ago. In fact, we've engaged him as the first country that engaged Buju Banton. And we paid our money, and we believed that he would bring out the people and bring the vibes to St. Kitts and Nevis, which it has done.
He thanked the volunteers and patrons who have all made the festival possible. The St. Kitts Music Festival 2019 was held from June 27th to 30th, comprising mainly of 3 nights of concert at the Kim Collins Stadium in Bird Rock. I am Namayambam Ganalo for SKN Newsline.
I'm Andre Huey for SK Newsline on the third and final night of the St. Kitts Music Festival, the 23rd annual St. Kitts Music Festival, and it turns out to be the most successful night of all. It was a jam-packed crowd here at the Kim Collins Stadium in Bird Rock, as thousands and thousands of people came out to see the acts for the third night, and especially Buju Banton, the highly anticipated act. It is estimated that about 15,000 persons came out to the show tonight, and it was indeed, they got their money's worth, or even more than their money's worth, as performances from LMA, Omari Banks, Smokey Robinson, and of course Buju Banton himself. We're going to present you the highlights, and we had a chance to sit down with Omari Banks from Anguilla and speak with him a bit about his performance. So here are some of the highlights of Saturday night's show, of the various acts that performed, and a little snippet of the interview we had with Omari Banks.
Well, it's Michael Thomas. Oh yeah. I'm missing my baby. I got your message, and I'm coming right home. Time I'm really missing you. But only for one night, no repeat. I said no repeat. Maybe you'll go away and never call. Ooh, baby, taste the honey's worse than none at all. Say, oh, no, girl, in that case, I don't want no problem, 'cause I do really.
The response was great, and every time I'm performing before the show, I'm always a little bit stressed or nervous because I don't know how the crowd is going to react. But it's always great, so they love it.
In the years of turmoil and strife, we scarred but we have survived. Though many souls have been lost in the fight. The history so deep and rich, despite the truth which they have switched. But we shall move on, knowing with faith the battle's won. That's why I've got to sing now.
One of the books. So I think, when I started to write songs, I'm always looking for ways of how I can inspire people and ways of how I can show them to kind of change their paradigm to a positive one, or get their paradigm into a positive one. And I think Half Full or Half Empty is really about that. It's about how you see things in life, how two people can have the same experience, and then but have a totally different end result because how they see things. So that's what Half Full, Half Empty is about.
Don't ever get over you until I find hey, new that get me high like you do. Yeah. Don't ever get over you until I find something new that get me high like you.
Not an easy road. Never see that drama. I think I made a rose. I said, who feels enough? Ooh, take it. What did I say? Not an easy road. Never see that drama. I think I made a rose.
So there you had the highlights of some of the performances on the third and final night of the St. Kitts Music Festival, including a snippet of an interview with Omari Banks. Reporting for SKN Newsline at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, the final night in Bird Rock at the Kim Collins Stadium, I'm Andre Huey.